Welcome to our world-renowned podcast, Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray. I'm a TEDx and keynote speaker and author. Also, I'm executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. Plus, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Our weekly show features interviews with powerhouse women founders, funders, and change makers that are sure to inspire you. Let's go. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation and executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. And so today we have on a special guest. Her name is Laura Rippy, and she is the managing partner and sits on the board of the Alumni Ventures. And we're going to talk about their women's fund as well as other funds that she handles. So welcome to the show, Laura. So happy to have you with
Thank
us.
you. I am so excited to be here, Catherine. You are a legend. This is amazing. I am really pleased to be here. So thank you for extending the red carpet my direction.
Wait a minute, talking about a legend, excuse me, you were voted number one woman early stage investor in 2025 by
Mhm.
Business Insider. So I'm singing your praises.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, there's two lists there. There's the women investors, and I'm number one on that. On the other list, there's uh, only six women on a list of 100. So I think we have a little work to do on that front still, but I'm proud to be on both lists.
And 100% why we made the movie Show Her the Money, which I know you're a big fan of as well. And that movie and that movement, which you know includes that in the book and that you said you have, thank you very much. And also a new college program that we're rolling out. So I'm super excited for us also to have been at Boston to the Girls into VC Summit. I want to talk about them and that amazing.
Love that. The
Um,
pipeline of new investors. I love it. We're
yes,
we're gonna we're gonna fix this. We
we
are
are.
gonna crack this code,
Oh my
friend.
God, Laura, you are my girl. We are going to fix this. You know, I think sometimes people feel so hopeless. Oh, we're getting 2% of venture capital. It hasn't moved. But you know what? It's going to move. It's
Yeah.
going to move in a big way over the next 5 to 10 years because of things like Girls into VC and our college program, which is teaching women at a younger age what venture capital is and why it's so important to the future and why
Mhm.
it's important in helping fund women entrepreneurs, right? And there I know we're so aligned.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think about that pipeline a lot. And there's a few things we've done at Alumni Ventures to encourage the growth that I wanted to share. So one is so Alumni Ventures, just a little bit of a backstop. We've been around for about a decade. We are a top 20 VC. We are the only one in the top 50 that caters to individual accredited investors to give them a path to invest in venture. And with that mantle, we have felt it a responsibility to try to not fix, but improve the mix of venture investors. So for about a dozen years, we've had a program called our Venture Fellows Program, which is basically an on-ramp to try out the career of venture. You're kind of an adjunct member of our teams. It's almost like a year-long internship, if you will. And we've had, I think, close to 600 people go through it. Half are women, three-quarters are, shall we say, not white men. And we've had women graduate from this. So one I remember from my early days, Kimmy Paluch. I'm not sure if you've interviewed her yet, but she, got an on-ramp to learning about venture and progressed to the point where she now has her own fund, backing from Pivotal Ventures from Linda French Gates, really kind of a success story of what the Venture Fellows program represents. So that's one piece where we really give these investors the tools to be professionally a venture capitalist. About 40% of the graduates have gone on to either venture or startup type roles in this entrepreneurial ecosystem. So that's one piece of what Alumni Ventures has done. The other part is you mentioned our women's fund. I want to talk more, but from a venture investor perspective, I think you know the stats. Anywhere from 9 to 16% of decision makers are of venture decision makers are women. At Alumni Ventures, in terms of that top tier partners and managing partners, we're at 27%. And when you look at the next row at the sort of entry and mid-career folks, we're at 36%. So versus the kind of overall environment of being, in that 9, 10, percent of venture decision makers, we are absolutely leading on the decision-making side, on the venture investor side. And I think it's partly because of just our mission. We're here to democratize access to venture capital. The investors here represent that. The broader pool of our investors at Alumni Ventures, we have about 11,000 of them that have joined us on the way to raising 1.6 billion so far. They represent a really mixed crowd of people investing in female founders.
I love what you're doing. I love this message. It's so important that we get it out there because of this big transfer of wealth coming into the hands of women.
Yep.
It's so important that
Hmm.
we have them understand how important it is. They take a part of their portfolio and put it into venture capital.
Absolutely. They
And
must. They must. I mean, there's
must.
half as many public companies now as there were 25 years ago. There's 5 times as many privates. You've seen all this capital move to the private side. If the women who are investing don't go there, they are missing out because
They're
that
missing
is
out on
where
building
growth.
wealth. They're
Yes.
missing out on making an impact and leaving their legacy.
Yep.
They're missing out on being part of an ecosystem that is so exciting, so fascinating that they get to be part of deciding what are the future products and services that we want to buy. We're buying
Yes.
80% of them. We should
Yeah.
be deciding what those products are, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a place where we enter, right? So Alumni Ventures enables individuals to invest in venture. Our women's fund, which is about to launch here in March for Women's History Month, is we're doing our third version. And the reason why is of the 1,600 portfolio companies we have, we realized 400 are either founded, co-founded, or led by women. And that is sort of the starting point for us. And it's companies like Blue Sky and Northwood and Madison Reed and amazing companies along the technical infrastructure from Venus Aerospace to Syntony. There's companies that are deeply technical. And the way that Alumni Ventures works is you just need to be accredited. You can join us picking individual deals. That's our Women's Fund Syndicate. Or you can join our women's fund, which in one investment, as low as $10,000, gives you a portfolio of about 20 companies that are top tier venture backed in terms of who's the lead investor and cut across the innovation sectors of venture, right? Anything from aerospace to biotech to cybersecurity across that mix. About 2/3 are seed and A, 1/3 are growth. So you really get in that one investment annually with our women's fund an exposure to about 20 companies with a single check, and we take care of all the sourcing and investing and K1s and all those good stuff behind the scenes. And that is an easy way for a woman who wants to have exposure to venture to come in and make her money take action to back female founders and female CEOs.
So here's the two challenges I see. One is we made the movie so that show her the money, so that people could, in a very simplified way, even understand what venture capital is and how it works. Because
Mhm.
I think many people in the industry throw around words that they don't understand. They don't even know accredited investor. And we know that from our website where people say, yeah, I'm earning over 200,000 a year. Oh, yes, I have over 1 million in assets over and above my house, but I'm not accredited investor. Yes, you are.
Exactly,
But they
exactly.
don't
We need
know
to
it
get that
because,
message out. Yes,
yeah,
accredited
no,
investors are $200,000 in income or $300,000 if you're married. It is the alternative way of proving you're accredited is if you have $1 million outside of your home. It's not both of those, it's one or the other. So you don't
right,
need to cross both of those lines. And if you have some of the certifications, like I think it's Series 60 and the like, then you also can qualify as well. So the
right.
pool of accredited investors who are women is correct. You're correct, Catherine, is larger than they expect and will be larger with the $38 trillion in sort of boomer wealth transfer that goes to a younger audience. So that
Right.
is absolutely the transition. And so for each one of those women to think about their portfolios, to recognize, they need to sleep at night, and maybe some of that means it's cash and under this proverbial mattress, but I hope it's also in sort of a diversified portfolio. But a critical piece of that is venture because you are investing in the future. You're investing in one of the highest performing asset classes of all types, and the ability to get into those top tier venture deals is exactly 100% the mission of Alumni Ventures.
And I love that mission because I think people don't know how to get started. And that is why we took this film, Show Her the Money, on a worldwide tour to educate women, but get them in a room together to discuss how they could get involved. Because you could just
Mhm.
watch a movie and not understand, how to actually take action. But we
Yes.
get them all in a room. I just came from Omaha, and the excitement in the room was amazing. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm going home and calling my broker. Oh, I'm moving money over into venture. Didn't even know I could do it. Didn't even know how. Didn't even know why. And so this is the exciting thing about our movement. It's a movie and a movement, so I call it a movement. And this is the message that you're putting out there that we
Yes.
are, supporting, is
Hmm.
that women need to educate themselves on
Yep.
this. Also, let's not forget the statistics that women make a better investment than
They
men.
do.
They return more per dollar invested.
Yep.
So why wouldn't we invest in them? It's a good bet. And
Yeah. Have you had the author of that book? What's her name? Ruth. I'm spacing on her last name. Have you, Ruth Schraber? So we interviewed her as part of our women's fund because it's called the X Factor, and it's when women are investors, they produce more alpha, more outcome. The other one that we interviewed, which perhaps would be interesting for you, is I think it's Julie Bornstein. I think a CNBC reporter. She does the
yeah,
Disrupt list. Might have her
yeah,
last name wrong. We interviewed her, and it's how women lead. And it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Both of those authors, incredible. And they just make us feel good. Like we know in terms of the investments that we do, more capital efficient. I'll give you an example. We're in Series A investors in Blue Sky. So Blue Sky, you probably know, is like
yeah.
Twitter, right? So two female co-founders, Rose Wang and Jay Graber, very smart. So they're at like 40 million users of Blue Sky, and the
Wow.
team is like on the order of 35 people.
Wow. That's
Talk about
amazing.
capital efficient. Talk
Yeah.
about capital efficient. Another one I'm super proud of. Last week, we announced we invested in Northwood. So Northwood is led by Bridget Mendler. So Bridget Mendler, she's like 32. She has a PhD from MIT, a Harvard Law degree, and oh, by the way, her first career was as a child actress. So at 32, she's leading this company, $100 million Series B. It's a space company. They basically manage the satellites. They have a 25, sorry, I think it's a 49 million, sorry, $49 million deal with the Space Force, US Space Force. They only started in 2023. So the company is this rocket ship, and Bridget is a force of nature. Her round that we joined at Alumni Ventures is was led by Andreessen Horowitz with Washington Harbor, and we tucked into that. So those are the quality of deals, top tier deals like Blue
Yeah.
Sky and Northwood, where it's a female founder who has attracted the best of the best in terms of lead investors with massive, massive ambitions. Those are great places to invest, and those are part of the portfolio of our women's fund, but also available on occasion on a deal by deal basis for investors who would rather choose their own portfolio piece by piece, knowing that each one of those deals is backed by incredible lead investors and has gone through the diligence process of Alumni Ventures that got us to this point of being, a top 20 VC with top decile returns in terms of DPI. So
Yeah.
we give people an easy on ramp. So for all of those fabulous women with whom you are communicating, I hope they join us over at Alumni Ventures. It's av.vc. So AV like Alumni Ventures, .vc like venture capital, av.vc. Easy way to get started. And of course, extra special welcome to the Women's Fund that I run amongst other funds at Alumni Ventures.
Right. And I think that, knowing that the on-ramp is so easy through Alumni Ventures is important because I think people don't know where to get started because lots of times their wealth managers are not advising them on venture capital. One, because it's not an area of their expertise, or two, sometimes these advisor companies don't even offer venture
They
capital.
don't. They don't. I mean, we're outside of that world. I mean, we're if you want direct to consumer, right? I mean, sort of in a Robin Hoodie kind of way, like
Yeah.
you as an individual can take agency here. The minimum commitment per investment is $10,000. You can go up to 3 million, but you can sort of choose your own adventure. Also, about a third of our investors use retirement dollars because we're a large platform, because we have 11,000 investors, we've raised 1.6 billion, we can offer these types of things. So the ability to use your retirement accounts is a simple interim step is you have to open a self-directed IRA and we kind of give you the scaffolding and help to open that. And that means for retirement dollars, you can put it to work. And there's so much that is really smart about that because venture is a long-term asset class. This is kind of get rich slow, if you will, right? And putting it in a long-term asset bucket like a retirement account is makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. They really like that. So that's about a third of our investments are use tap retirement dollars in a rollover account.
So, with Alumni Ventures, you're saying you could invest like in the Women's Fund where you're
Yes.
focused on women running the companies or at least being co-founders.
Mhm.
Um, can they invest in individual companies through
Yes,
Alumni?
yeah. So that's what we call our syndicate. So you can sign up for that in like literally, a few seconds. And you just have to, attest that you are accredited. And then you start to see the deals. And I wanted to follow up on something you said, Catherine, about the education. So a lot of the people who go through the path of starting with our syndicate, they're doing it because they want to get smart. And what the syndicate allows you to do is as we have deals come through and we let you know about it, you log into a confidential portal. You have to sign all sorts of disclosures that you're not going to share any of the information. And then you get to see our diligence reports. And they're like 20 pages, right? You get to kind of dig in and sort of have the chew toy of what does this company do? What is the competitive set? What's the founder all about? What's their business plan? Where are they
Which
going
you
forward?
never get on the public market, by the way.
Never 100%. So
Yeah.
you get all this kind of interesting information to chew on, and then we invite you to a deal discussion. So the deal discussion is where you come onto a Zoom, and the team internally at Alumni Ventures that has kind of taken the lead on diligencing this opportunity and knows the founder is on and is available for questions. So you can ask your questions in a friendly, safe environment, or you can just kind of be a fly on the wall and see what other people ask.
You
And
make it such a comfortable environment for them to get to learn about it. And that's the
absolutely.
exciting thing.
Yeah. And no obligation to invest. You're
And
listening, you're learning, and maybe over
yes.
time you say, yes, I've found a company that I want to individually invest, or you've said, you know what? I've heard a few of these deal discussions. I've read the documents. I'm now comfortable with Alumni Ventures making those investments for me, Laura and her team in the case of the Women's Fund. And I will look forward to coming to our investor meetups. I had one last night, which is amazing. I have another one for existing investors doing over Zoom in a week or two, where again, it's the peer group, right? It's accomplished,
Yeah, you're
financially
not doing this
successful
on your
women.
own. Yeah.
Correct.
And
Correct.
you're having someone vet it for you. So you don't have
Correct.
to be the expert because, like,
Yeah.
you're not. This is the beauty of it. When people put their money in public stocks or mutual funds, they never meet the people dispersing their money. But if you really want your money going to things that matter to you, this is the way to go. And getting into venture capital, I think some people have this idea that it's not for them, it's only for trillionaires,
Well,
whatever.
so let's be honest about that. I mean, certainly, and before Alumni Ventures, we recognized that the entire venture class of investment opportunities was the purview of institutions and endowments and the mega billionaires, right?
Right.
That was where venture lived. The breakthrough that Alumni Ventures did was to say we are going to democratize access to venture capital. We are going to get together individuals into a fund. The fund is then going to invest in these companies. That's, we're a venture fund together investing in these companies. And that enables access for regular accredited investors who have had financial success. Let's be clear, being accredited is a milestone in and of itself. But to be able to get access into these deals, we do the work. We're called Alumni Ventures because we started in the school communities, or in the Harvard Fund, or in the Dartmouth Fund. I'm deep in those ecosystems, and we have our ear to the ground of the great startups that come out of there. But I also benefit from my peers who run the MIT Fund, or the Stanford Fund, or the Wharton Funds. All of those feed into the opportunities that we then bring to bear into our funds, and particularly for the Women's Fund, right? Because it might be that the next great, amazing founder is from Stanford or from Harvard or from Johns Hopkins. We are agnostic to that. It's the fact that it is an incredible opportunity with a top tier VC leading the round. That's the kind of criteria that get into our portfolios.
Yeah, and we want to be the megaphone to letting women know that this is something they can be doing and need to be doing and will
Day
want to
one.
be doing. Um, that's what's going to change the venture capital uh,
Super
arena.
important because it is this flywheel, right? So venture is a different investing class because there is judgment involved. It's not just kind of numbers on a page. What's the PE ratio, right? So the fact that there are more female investors, as I articulated, AV is leaning into this and is super ahead of the curve on the percentage of the investors on our team that are female. But then it's also then investing in these founders. And the interesting piece is if you unpack the data, in the seed side, there's a decent amount of capital that goes to female founders, but as they get to be Series A, Series B, that dries up a bit. Again, this is a place where Alumni Ventures is able to play because we have such a big capital stack and the ability to kind of come in, as I said, for Northwood in the Series B, or for Blue Sky, we've been in the A and the B. Venus Aerospace, led by Dr. Sassy Dugglesby, is a hypersonic engine company. I think we've been in the A, B, C, and D, if I remember correctly. So supporting these female founders along the journey is an important part of where Alumni Ventures is so uniquely positioned and is such a great partner for women who want to do well financially as well as doing good by
Yeah.
backing the next generation of female entrepreneurs.
100%. And for those of you listening and you're saying, I don't know what Series A, B, or C, or D is, you know what? That's why you join something like Alumni, who will explain all of that. You can ask all your questions. It gives you a safe space to dive in and swim a little bit. And it's so important that we all, as women, participate in this sector. You know, even if you have a very diverse portfolio and you put just 2 to 5% of it into venture capital, this is going to be a game changer for women getting funded and being able to scale to the levels that we're talking about here so that they are the big companies on the NASDAQ, on
Exactly.
the Dow. You want them to be women-owned companies because, many times it's women that have the breakthrough innovations that are going to help change the world and save the planet with regard to everything from women's health to the environment, things
Mhm.
that are going to benefit or impact your children. So it's very important that we, invest in women and their ideas and innovations. One, because it can be very profitable and build wealth, not only for the investor, but for the founder as well. And then the founder becomes an investor. And so that's a beautiful, chain of events that we
It
can.
is. It is. That is the flywheel, right? So 4 out of 5 venture dollars go into all male founding teams. 4 out of 5 venture dollars go into all
Preaching
male
to me,
founding
sister.
teams. What that means is then when those ring the bell events happen, 4 out of 5 of the ring the bell events dollars would go to men. So
Right.
we need to
At the
shift that.
NASDAQ or at the New York
That's right. We
Stock
need to shift
Exchange.
that. So if there are
Right.
more female founders, more female leaders, when those companies go follow through to fruition and go public and have the big exits, then those women have capital and have the knowledge to then foster the next generation.
I'm
So
so
it is a
curious.
flywheel.
I'm so curious to ask you, Laura, how did you get involved in venture capital?
So I was a 3-time CEO. So a lot of people come to venture after being an operator. I started early days at Microsoft as well, so kind of a technical upbringing in terms of my flow, and then venture being a natural extension of that. I will credit, I had a girlfriend who brought me onto a fund. So women power, go team. So I am grateful forever for that. And then with Alumni Ventures, it's been a journey. So I've been here for about eight of the, to call it 10, 11 years we've been around. And I joined when we'd raised like $30 million. And now we've raised close to 1.6 billion.
Amazing. That is just off the charts amazing.
Yeah,
And
really proud.
we were talking in the beginning about Girls into VC, and I just love that organization. 10,000 women belong to that, that are colleges and universities around the country, around the world, that are college girls wanting to learn about venture capital. That excites me so much because that
Yes.
will be a generational game changer.
Yes.
We didn't know anything about venture capital back then. You said this started 10 years ago, Alumni Ventures. It's about 10 years that really women have even started to step into this arena. We need more women working in venture capital funds, starting venture capital funds, investing in them, all of that. And this,
Amen, sister. I'm
yeah.
on your team, Catherine. I love it.
And ladies, this is your entree to be able to step into that arena. So definitely check out Alumni Ventures. What's the best way for them to reach out to you, Laura?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
You're on LinkedIn,
av.vc
right?
is to learn more. Our women's fund is just women's fund at av.vc. It's as simple as that. That's a good place to start, and I'm excited to be partnering with you, Catherine, here on the Invest in Her podcast and the book and the movie and supporting those women that were so inspirational at the Girls into VC conference. So
Thank you. Thank you. I love teaming up on this stuff too. It gets you and I both so excited, and we hope it does our listeners as well. Jump in. It's an exciting arena, you all, and you don't want to miss out on the growth of this. We are literally in the middle of changing the face of the venture capital ecosystem to be more supportive of women, and you can be a part of that. You, as the listener, can be a pioneer in helping change that. We got this, right, ladies? Yeah.
absolutely.
So, Laura Rippy, I take it you're on LinkedIn. That's Rippy for those just listening today. Of course, Catherine Gray, I'm on LinkedIn as well. You can reach out to either of us, Catherine with a C, Gray with an A. Please also visit our website, showherthemoneymovie.com, where you can see the movie. You can, you know, sign up to screen it to your group, which is always the most powerful. But also, we are going to be streaming starting March on Apple TV and Amazon. So we're super excited about that. We also have our book out, Show Her the Money, which is also available. Did you know it's available in audio? And
That's what I have. I have the audio version, Catherine.
yeah, Emmy Award winning actress Sharon Gless reads it to you. Everybody remembers her from Cagney and Lacey, a trailblazer, and we're so lucky to have her. So, Laura, I am just thrilled to have you as a guest today. Love what you're
Wonderful.
doing. Can't wait for everybody to jump on board and learn more about Alumni Ventures. I'm going to be one of your biggest cheerleaders now that I've learned all about it. And everybody, thanks for taking the time to tune in. Laura, thank you for a great interview. Make it a great week, everybody.